Gentlemen, welcome back to the Alpha M podcast. Today, I've got a very special guest by the way of Brazil. He is now residing in LA. He is a social media monster. He has been on YouTube now for how many years, Alex? It's been like 11 years, 8 years? It's been like a long time, which we'll talk about.
9 years.
9 years? Right.
Long time, dude. 9 years.
The old videos are the ones to watch, honestly, in my opinion. You are a monster on YouTube with over 3 million subscribers. You're huge on TikTok, on Instagram. You have exploded. You are all over the place. You have businesses. You've got brand deals. You've been with all these sexy sponsors that I will never be with because you have cleaner, better content than I ever will. And so, Alex Costa, thank you so much for being here. And I am so excited to talk to you a little bit about your journey, your story, where you're headed, and where you've been. How you been?
What an intro, man.
Yeah,
I'm
right?
pumped up. You hyped me up. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Especially coming from you, dude. You're killing it. You're crushing it. Thank you, man. I've been good. I've been very good. I've been busy. 2021 is off to an amazing start, and I'm just excited. 2020 was definitely just a weird year. So I'm excited to get this all in order and keep pushing along in 2021.
I live vicariously through you and your travels. you like last year, like I'm sitting there like at home and Alex, like you guys got COVID and then it was like, you know what, screw it. Like, let's go travel, right? Let's go do things. We got this. We got a few months of these antibodies in me. Let's do it. So my first question is, I think your story is incredible. You are not native to, or you're an immigrant, right? And you came here, you grew up in Brazil. Tell everybody a little bit about your story and that's one of the interesting things. When you actually go back to your earlier YouTube videos, they're not in English, right? They were in Portuguese,
Correct,
right?
man. So I'm Brazilian. I grew up in Brazil. I moved to the US when I was 13 years old. Didn't speak a word of English. Definitely got, bullied in school because I was an immigrant, couldn't speak English, couldn't dress the way the American guys, dressed. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I started on this journey. And yeah, man, when I started YouTube, I was doing video gaming content in Portuguese. So I was, posting myself playing Call of Duty, playing GTA, even dabbled in Minecraft a little bit there. Definitely was not my game in Portuguese. And then everything changed later on, but that's how I started.
How did you identify that point at which it was like, you know what, I think it's time to talk about men's style or grooming, or how did you make that shift? What was sort of like the light bulb moment?
It wasn't easy.
What happened?
Yeah, it was definitely a few things actually. So number one, I wasn't happy playing video games anymore. I wasn't enjoying it as much as I used to anymore. So for me, I was like, I don't really want to be doing this. This is not something that is sustainable because I'm not happy shooting this content. I'm not happy playing video games. So what am I going to do? Two, posting content in Portuguese, the return on that is not very good if you live in the US. The US dollar is so much stronger than the Brazilian real. So if I'm going to get paid in reals, it's not sustainable. I'm not going to be able to make a business out of this. And then three, when I started showing myself playing video games, showing my face, showing what I was wearing, it was funny because guys started asking me, hey, you like work out and stuff. Like, how do you do that and game? You do your hair and you game? You have a girlfriend? How is that possible? And I'm like, maybe that's something that I should discuss, Let's talk about this for a second. And it just became bigger and bigger. So those were the signs for me to really be like, you know what, let's dive into this. And I think there's an opportunity here that
What was the first video that you did that was not gaming related? Do you remember what the topic was?
I think it was like my favorite purchases of 2015 or like what's in my bag. It was one of those, like my favorites, and I was like, let's just dabble and see. And I talked about a bag. I talked about sunglasses, had nothing to do with gaming. And it got more views than my gaming videos. And I enjoyed it way more. It's just a more creative video. It's more personal. And that to me was a big sign. And then the second video I did that kind of blew up was a video with Anthony DeLuca at the time. I flew over to Toronto, we hung out, we shot this collab, and the video got over 1 million views. And it was about hair. I think it was like how to grow your hair.
Of course it was about hair. That's all Anthony was doing, right?
And I was like,
what is he doing? What is Anthony doing?
Yeah, he has the best hair, He's opening a massive studio in Toronto, dude. You should check it out. It's beautiful. It's like a creative space for YouTubers and creatives in general to go there and do their podcast. There's an editing bay. I mean, everything. It
Really?
looks amazing. It's very Anthony. Like it
that's
looks
incredible.
sick. Yeah.
And so you started doing the men's lifestyle sort of content. What year did you start working at Google? Because that's the other thing. You worked for YouTube, right?
I did, yeah. So 2015, I started working for Google in April. It was one of those crazy things. You know, when I got the job, I couldn't believe it. Called my mom, I cried. Called my dad in Brazil. I'm like, hey, I got this job at Google, because that's something they understand. You know, they're like, he works at Google. It doesn't even matter what he does. Like, they didn't exactly know what I was doing. So I worked there for 3 years. I learned as much as I could, and my job was to basically be the point of contact for YouTube creators at YouTube. So all these gaming creators came to me, and I relayed their message to the big YouTube, business, so that people at YouTube can understand these gamers. And that was my job for 3 years.
Well, it's funny because I was invited out to LA, I guess it was last year sometime. Actually, it must have been the year prior to that. Time has sort of flown. Anyway, I got invited out to this dinner, right? It was one of the head people at YouTube. It was a few other creators. It was a very small, like intimate sort of gathering. But some of the people that were there were actually, worked for YouTube. And they were like, oh, I said, yeah, I just was out, and it was when I came out and shot that video with you and Joe. And it was literally that night. And I remember the women there that were worked for YouTube were like, yeah, you were with Alex. He obviously figured something out that we didn't figure out. Because like here you are, like, you used to work for YouTube, and then you're like, screw this, I'm gonna go out and do my own thing. And now, like, look what happened. Like, you blew up. So you basically like blew up. At what point did you decide, okay, I'm gonna do this for a living. I'm not gonna have like this other job, moonlighting, because I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, not just entrepreneurs, but YouTubers in general, you do it, you start it because you're like, yo, I love this. Ultimately, the dream is to do this full time. But there's a fear associated with that as well, because here you are, even though you were probably making good money on this channel, there's still that security that comes along with the 9-to-5 job. And so for you, what was the decision-making process like? It's like, all right, was it you had a plan where, all right, if I can reach this much of money, revenue for X number of months, I'm going to quit my job. What was that process?
Yeah, man, it was one of the hardest decisions, if not the hardest business decision that I had to make, because like you said, Google, it was just a safe job. It was a great 9-to-5 job, very respectable. I made 6 figures. It was, I had all the benefits, the Google benefits, which everyone talks about, and they were amazing. And I got to travel the world with Google. And I started doing my channel, obviously way before them. So when I got hired at Google, I said, hey guys, the one thing that I cannot let go of is my YouTube channel. Is that okay? Can I still run that on the side? And they said, yes, actually, we would love that, because it means that you're getting time with our product, with YouTube, and it can relay that information to us. Let us know what you think. So I was like, cool, accept the job. And, I continued to do it. I never stopped. And it was really tough, man, to work 9-to-5 in a job that really takes a lot out of you, because I'm working with such smart people, trying to do a good job here. And then I get home and I have to shoot YouTube videos. So I was a zombie for a couple of years there. It was really difficult. But my YouTube channel started to get traction. Shot that video with Anthony. It did super well. I switched over in about 2016. Beginning of 2016, I switched over to men's fashion. And that's when my channel started to do well. Started to work with bigger brands and get bigger brand deals. And I figured there is definitely a way to do this and to go full time. At Google, I could work here forever. I could retire and, I'll get raises every year. It's a great job. But with YouTube, myself, with my own business, I mean, you could grow exponentially so fast, if you actually do it right, if you actually put all the effort into it. So if I take that 9-to-5 time that I was inputting into Google and put it all into my own business, I was just sure that it was going to happen. I was just sure of it. And even though I was sure of it, there's still that 1%, like you said. I was like, I think I can make this work. I'm pretty damn sure. But there was no plan B for me. It's not like I was going to go back to Google or anything like that. I was like, this is it, And honestly, it was about saving enough money to be able to have a little bit of comfort there after I quit. Because obviously I went from making pretty damn good money to like making way less as soon as I quit, let go of that salary. So I had to save a specific amount of money in my head. I'm like, if I can save this much, then I can quit. And then 2017, 2018 will be all about growth. And that's how it happened for me.
So you said 2018?
I quit.
2018 was the year that you were full time?
I quit January 2018.
Okay, God, it seems like that was so recent, but it seems like you've been doing this, for much longer, and obviously you have. But talk a little bit about some of your other businesses, because not only are you a content creator, you are an entrepreneur. And so this is kind of where I love talking about entrepreneurship. I love talking about starting and building businesses. When I came out there to meet you, you had just got finished or started a collaboration with Nordstrom, the BP by Alex Costa, right? And so I was curious, it was such a big brand. It was such a big, sort of hyped up thing. I was worried that it would never live up to the expectations or the sort of it's like when you think about that, it's like it's built up so much that it better perform or else it's going to be a disappointment. What ended up happening with that? Because I haven't heard anything since then about the collaboration. Is it still going on? Did you guys break ties?
Yeah.
Is it still kind of like...
It was never actually meant to be a forever thing, a permanent brand. Basically, Nordstrom was relaunching one of their brands called BP, and they were relaunching men's and women's. And they needed a guy to really push that launch and a girl to push that launch. So they got Claudia Saluski. She's an amazing, women's lifestyle influencer. And then they got me. And we pushed this for it was a 6-month deal, And they said, of course, we can talk later, whatever. It did well. Like, we literally sold out. Within the 6 months, we sold out. I did my job. We did everything that we could. We had an amazing launch party. And then they said, okay, cool. We launched the BP. It's back up. And that's it, So we've had a few chats after then. And then they stopped when COVID hit, because Nordstrom obviously took a massive hit because of COVID.
Yeah.
So we haven't chatted since then. Would love to do something again. But honestly, to be quite frank, I probably wouldn't do it with Nordstrom. I would just do my own brand and just put it into Nordstrom at this point. But I learned so much from them. It was so valuable.
No, absolutely. And honestly, it's also like a feather in your cap, right? Because you did something with a major, arguably, in my opinion, probably the top sort of, department store in the country. I mean, there are higher end department stores, but in terms of a department store that really has done a great job, sort of, not, succumbing to all of the pressures of, going super cheap. Now, they have changed their model a bit over the years, but I would say that Nordstrom is the one, big brick and mortar that definitely has figured some stuff out better than other brick and mortars. And so that is a huge feather in your cap. Talk a little bit, you mentioned something about, hey, I would just do it myself. You did a hair product company recently.
Yep.
That was kind of like your first big, other than the BP with Alex Costa, the hair product industry or business was kind of like your first like big baby, right?
Exactly, man.
Like all you. And so talk a little bit about that process. I have a grooming company as well. What was the process? What made you think, you know what? Obviously, it wasn't a hard connect the dots. So much of your content is about hair. Yeah. So much, so many of your audience and your followers trust you to help them. And so why, how did that happen? What was that process like?
Exactly. I mean, it's exactly what you said. It was such an easy, natural, organic fit for me to talk about hair products and, of course, develop my own hair products. I was promoting a lot of different hair products at the time because I didn't have my own. And I was like, why am I promoting all of these different brands when I can really develop a product for my followers? Because I know what they want, I know what they like, I see the conversions for, these products that I'm promoting on my channel. So why would I not have my own and just do an amazing job? Hopefully, at the start, that's how I thought. Maybe I'll make a really banger product and it will sell really well. So we decided to start with one product. That's all we had the money for. That's all we had the time for. And we launched the Forte
What was your initial investment? What was your initial investment in that type?
I think it was probably like 30 grand of my own money, but then I have 2 business partners and they put some money in as well. So it wasn't crazy expensive, but it also wasn't cheap.
But I always like asking those type of questions because, for you, it was a bigger, I assume that your product was a custom formulation, correct?
It was. Yeah, it took
'Cause you went through-
way longer than we expected.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of different iterations that you were talking about. So for me, when I started Pete and Pedro, I started with the white label, situation where it was
Yep.
like, hey, for $3,000, I started a line. I, sourced a bunch of different products, and I found the ones that I liked and I loved them, and put my label in. It was an easy way to sort of integrate into a business like that. But for you, going custom on your first run, when I started, I had a smaller audience, right? I also I felt like it was a risky sort of undertaking, and I didn't know what I didn't know. You had the experience of working with these other brands. You had experience of driving a message, doing content, and actually selling things. So you had, I guess, more confidence that it was a wise investment to invest. $30,000 is a ton of money, right?
Yeah.
And so, to actually do that is like super, like, I believe in myself. And it's a scary undertaking, but I guess, you had gotten to the point where you were already, crushing it on a different level. So it was, hey, you know what, I'm gonna do this. What's the worst thing that happens, right?
Exactly. And I looked at Pete and Pedro, I looked at Blue Mon, who was, doing a great job. I'm friends with Joe as well. And I was like, this is going to work. This has to work. If I have the right product for my audience, which I believe I can develop, it's gonna work. And that's why it took so long for us to develop this product, because I was like, everything is riding on this one product, so it needs to be good. And it took us a while.
And the reviews were great too. Their reviews were great too. I mean, a lot of the online hair community, they like a good product, and they definitely got behind you and really loved your product. And so then you came out with another product.
Exactly. Yeah. So we had the clay for almost a year, like 8 months, 10 months. And then
you grew your hair and you were like, yo, I need another product now.
Dude, well, the problem is it's hard for me to advertise my own products now because I can't even wear the clay because nothing holds this thing together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need to shoot ads for Forte, but I can't do it with this hair. So I need to find models. It's a thing, but a couple more months maybe, and then I'll chop it off.
Okay.
Yeah, we launched 4 new products, man, in July. It's the molding paste, the argan oil, the shampoo, and the conditioner. So that was an amazing launch for us because we went from having 1 product to 5. And obviously, the average value per order is going to go up, et cetera, et cetera. So that for us was huge, was really huge. It completely changed our business. To be quite frank with you, I haven't taken a single dime from Forte since we launched. Not a single dime. I've only put money into it, put time into it, promoted it on my channel. And the plan is to continue to grow it. And we're launching 3 more products next month. And then we're launching like a slew of products this year. I think we're going to have a total of like 13 products by the end of the year, which I'm very pumped about. Yeah.
So obviously, has it lived up to your expectations? Has it exceeded your expectations? Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was at first, we sold so many right away. And I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is amazing. We sold out at one point and it took a little while to restock, but we only had 1 product and it was $21. So, there's only so many clays you can sell to the same audience. So that's why we really needed to get these new SKUs out. And that's what we did last year. So now, after we launched those 4 new products, it's really worth it for us. It really makes sense. And I love the brand, dude. I really love working on the brand. I just literally had a 2-hour phone call with my business partners right before this. And
how did you meet
I'm
them?
excited.
That's another question because business partners are a tricky business, right?
I know, and I got so lucky, Aaron. I got so lucky with mine.
How did you meet them? Who are these people?
So Ben used to work at Blue Mon. He was a co-founder at Blue Mon. And he knows exactly. So he knows.
I didn't know this. This is the good stuff.
World.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly. So he's one of my business partners, and then he found Brian, who was a friend of his. And Brian is a machine, dude. Brian is so good at what he does. He will work all day to make sure the logistics are perfect, the branding is perfect, the messaging is there. And then I'm good at what I do. I'm good at making these products look incredible on camera. My hair is weird right now, but besides that, obviously I know creating content. I know that world. So the 3 of us, we make a really good team.
So that's interesting though. Did that cause any problems with Joe?
It didn't, because Ben was actually like on his way out. They had that for a while, and then Ben was already looking for another venture. You know, at first Joe was actually going to be a partner too, so we went back and forth with contracts, and it got too messy.
Really?
And we just said, let's just part our ways. Like, Joe's my friend. We're actually going away to Big Bear snowboarding on Monday. Like, we're good buddies. No hard feelings there whatsoever.
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. That's great to hear. And so another business that you do is a membership website.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that. Tell everybody a little bit about that.
Sure, man. So I started this membership website called The Inner Circle, and we started it in July of 2020. And it was something that we started because of COVID, because I was home, I wasn't traveling anymore. So I'm like, you know what? Let's take this time and do something with it. And everyone else was home, right? So I'm like, maybe I can teach virtual classes. I can do these master classes. I ended up talking to a few people who have online courses, and I met this one guy, Mikhail, and he's amazing at what he does. He's worked with Ty Lopez before. He really understands this business. And he said, let's create a course for men, and with everything that you teach on YouTube, but way more condensed, way more educational, all in one place. Instead of like 7-minute videos, we'll do like 45-minute videos. So that's what we did. And we wrote for like 4 or 5 months, the whole thing. And we decided to launch it in July. So it's a $47 a month membership, and you get access to, I mean, there's probably like 50 videos at the moment, and we keep adding videos pretty much every week or two. And you get dripped, you know, every week you get a new video. It's videos about maintaining a positive mindset, about communication skills, about style, of course, hairstyles, everything that I teach on my YouTube channel, just way more educational, way more structured. And there's also, I think the biggest opportunity in the Inner Circle is the community, because it's a lot of guys who are paying to be there. These guys want to be successful. These guys want to grow. So now what we're seeing, now that the group is bigger, we're seeing people connect with each other and conduct calls by themselves, you know, teaching themselves, hey, how do you do your hair? How do you dress? You know, you have a girlfriend. How did you? So that to me is amazing. Has
that lived up to your expectations? That course?
It's okay right now. In my opinion, we have so much to grow. And the Inner Circle, when we started it, was basically just like the starting point. So now we're going to launch a bunch of additional products around the Inner Circle, other courses to supplement it. And that's when I think it'll get really interesting. And that's where we are right now.
Membership websites are kind of tough. At least they were for me. Years ago, I started a membership website where I thought, oh, I'm going to, you know, but for me, it was like, oh, let me charge something that everybody can afford. It was like $9.95 a month, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, the amount of content that I had committed to putting out was like three pieces of content per day, Monday through Friday. And so it was just this like insane, like I literally, Alex, in my unpublished videos on YouTube, I've got like 3,000 unpublished videos.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Wow.
And it's so much so that I said to, in my will, I went and did a will. This is like grown-up stuff that's not fun to talk about.
Dude, I did that last week. Mine got done last week. So
and it was horrible. Like for me, like I cried like when I was doing it, like thinking through everything. And so it was horrible for me. But it's something that grown-ups have to do, right? And so in my will, I have, you know, earmarked money for my assistant to continue every day putting out those unpublished videos once a day for the next like X number of years, just to continue that ad revenue to come in that my family then can still, you know, have. And so it's a way for me to sort of, you know, continue to put, like I'll be dead and there'll be videos going out like every day from me for like literally like
a quick
4 years.
Side note, how funny is that we have to include our YouTube channels and social media channels on our will?
It is, you know,
it's actually pretty interesting.
It's crazy. So talk a little bit about, you know, back to the membership website. So I had this membership website that I, you know, thought was going to, you know, just absolutely crush it and people were going to pay to, and it ended up, you know, I mean, this was back probably 6 years ago. I think at the time I was making like maybe $100,000 a year. It was so little in relation to the amount of effort and time I was putting in.
Yeah.
And so I decided to get rid of that and just, you know, sort of double down on the YouTube. And this was also, I believe, before like Pete and Pedro. So it had to be probably like 8 years ago. But it's just, for me, it was a lot of time. And, it's also living up to the expectations that people have. And so for me, it was tough. It was tough for that membership website.
It is, exactly. That's the struggle that I'm going with right now. I want to make sure that everyone's happy. And also financially speaking, for me, it really needs to make sense for the amount of content that I'm posting there every day. I post on the Facebook group, I shoot the videos. I do live streams once a month. I post on a close friends, my Instagram story. I add them to my close friends, so I have to maintain that and keep posting content there. So it's a lot of work. So we're not where we want to be yet in terms of members, but I think dude, I've talked to some of these guys one-on-one and they've grown so much and it feels right. Like I know that I'm doing something right. I know I'm helping them. So I want to grow this. And that's where we are right now.
Speak a little bit about work, because one of the things that always has amazed me about you is that you are putting out so much content. YouTube is one thing. You're putting out around 4 to 5 videos a week, right? So that's one thing. But then on top of that, you are making these really sexy, cool videos for TikTok, for Instagram. You also do a lot of content with your girlfriend. And so, the first thing I want to really talk about is, when you started dating Robbie, your girlfriend, she wasn't really like that big of she wasn't like a social media person really that much, was she?
Right. No,
but now she is.
She was a dentist and social media person on the side.
Really?
And she wasn't supposed to move to LA. She just came here to visit. And dude, we just got along so well. And she never went back to Australia. And now she came because of COVID. So I kind of kidnapped her.
but you guys do a lot of content together, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not that much. It doesn't feel like it's that much. We try, realistically speaking. Look, dude, I have 95% male audience, as I'm sure the same for you.
Yeah.
That's not the audience that she needs for her business to succeed. So I try to actually post her as little as possible, because otherwise I'm just feeding all this male audience over to her channels, and that's not what she needs right now. So we feature ourselves like strategically, on each other's social media channels. But I try to be on her vlogs to make it more interesting, because we know that she has a lot of my audience on her channel, and I try to be on her reels because that performs really well, couple stuff. But that's pretty much it.
Okay, how do you balance being an influencer, two people being influencers in a relationship? Like, where does the line, like, do you guys like just say, F it, I'm not doing anything on Saturday or Sunday and we're just having like us time? Because I know it, like when you vlog, now you're not a vlogger, but when you vlog, it's really hard to sort of like shut it off. How do you guys shut it off and sort of compartmentalize, like, okay, this is work, this is relationship, or is it sort of blurry and kind of fuzzy?
It's funny. I was having this conversation with her the other day, and the only arguments that we get along super well. The only arguments that we have is content arguments. Like, oh, I got to shoot this. Oh, but I'm tired. Oh, but you didn't get this photo. Those are the only arguments. We never argue about anything else, which is a good sign. And it's, even then, it's very rare. We don't really have those limits, to be honest with you. It's more of like, it's a lifestyle. It really is. We're always on. We're always posting content. On Sunday was the first time they were like, let's take some time off. And even then we started our day off at like 3 p.m. on a Sunday, We watched a couple of like movies or something like that, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, man, we're always on. I was shooting videos until 11 p.m. last night. She's such a hustler too. So it's inspiring. We hype each other up. We help each other out. So we get along really, really well. And we help each other out with content.
Speaking of helping, your family, your brother, right? You have 2 brothers.
I have 2 younger brothers, yeah.
2 younger brothers, and they both work for you?
They do, yeah.
Okay, so talk a little bit about that, and that's something that I think is really inspiring. I met one of your brothers when I was out there, but then I think all of a sudden I saw another brother. I'm like, wait a second, he's got more than one brother. they both help you. I mean, they help you with content. They help. Talk a little bit about that relationship and how your family has sort of come into your business and why you have chosen to sort of do some of these things with them as opposed to hiring somebody who you don't have to be buddies with or family with, I should say. Or is that the reason why you do it, because you trust them?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. For me, it does not make sense for me to be successful and for them to not be successful. it just does not make sense, because then I wouldn't be happy. Then, like, if I want to go on a trip somewhere and I can't bring my brothers because one, they can't afford it, or for whatever reason, it just does not make sense to me. So I need to make sure that they are with me, you know, they're growing with me. At the time, my brother William, when he first started working for me, he wasn't really doing anything special with his life. He was like, I don't really know what to do. He was a little lost. I'm like, dude, start writing my scripts, start helping me with engagement, posting my videos for me, you know, helping with the description and all that. And he's like, okay, I'll do that. So we started small, and then it became a bigger and bigger job, bigger role on my channel. He's been working for me for about 2.5 years now. He actually ended up moving to LA. So he lives here in LA now he moved from Tampa. And yeah, so we've been working together for 2 years. He writes my scripts. He helps with community management. He posts everything on Twitter and Facebook for me. So he's a big help. And then my brother Victor, who's actually here right now upstairs shooting with Robbie, he shoots all my TikToks, and he just moved to LA in July of last year, right in the middle of COVID. So he hasn't even enjoyed LA whatsoever, but I know he's a little pissed about it. But, you know, he shoots all of my TikToks. So we do once a week, we shoot TikToks, 7 videos, one for every day of the week. And then Robbie does kind of something similar. So they're shooting right now, and they shoot pretty much all day to get that content. And it's just, I'm happy to have them here with me. You know, I think, could I find somebody that has more experience? Yeah, of course. My brothers, they weren't a scriptwriter and an editor before, but they're growing into it. They're training, they're becoming better. And now they're getting jobs from different people. My brother Victor is actually editing Brett Maverick's vlogs. He's editing Robbie's vlogs. You know, so he's editing my Inner Circle videos. So he's getting a lot of work, which is awesome.
And you know what? And the bottom line is, I think you nailed it on the head earlier. It's about, you know, if it wasn't, you succeeding by yourself is not really fun, right? And it's not as rewarding as being able to do it around people that you love, that you trust, and help basically lift everybody up. And they help you, they support you, you trust them, which is something that you probably have figured out at this point is invaluable, right?
It's invaluable. It's hard to trust someone, you know, with your brand, with your babies, and you know, they have access to my YouTube channel, to my Twitter, to my Instagram. You know, it would be hard for me to give that up to someone else.
So what is the next, say, 24 months? So what is next for you? I hear about the launching of the new hair products and the new Forte line. You know, other than that, like what is sort of getting you excited? What is next for you in terms of, is there a business? Is there, you know, types of content you want to put out? What does it look like for you, Alex?
Yeah, a couple of things. For sure, the new businesses. You know, I want to make sure that I'm developing new businesses that are going to be very successful for me and my business partners and all the employees and everyone involved. I'm really getting into real estate investments at the moment. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing something outside of content and products, you know, which is amazing. But I want to make sure that I'm doing something
diversified. Just so that
you have to do that. You know, you never know. I mean, look at COVID. It changed everybody's lives. We never know when that's going to happen again. Something similar that could actually affect us, because we lucked out this time. Thankfully, we did okay.
Yeah.
But who knows? So
what type of real estate are you looking at, or have you done any real estate investing yet? Other than, I know you built your home. What, you know, tell me. I love real estate. I own a bunch of real estate, and so that gets me excited.
So I'm trying to be more like you, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, basically, you're a machine, by the way, dude. You're a machine. I mean, props to you. You know, you've been doing this for a very long time. So
don't remind me.
Continue to crush it.
But no, seriously, like what type of real estate? Real estate I love.
Yeah,
it's
I think
exciting.
So right now, I'm looking at a few places in Florida, just because first of all they're very affordable, easy to get into, and the rent it makes sense. And then also looking at places in Palm Springs as Airbnb, so short-term rental in Palm Springs, and then long-term rental in Florida. That's
so
what
Florida
I'm
would be homes, or would it be like
Apartments.
Duplexes? Oh, really?
Apartments. Yeah.
How many apartments?
I'm looking to get this year just a total of 2 or 3 properties. That is it.
Yeah.
One in Palm Springs, one in Florida. Start small, see how it goes. Obviously, interest rates are really low. It makes sense. And
California is impossible to do that, right? I mean, it's so expensive.
I'm this close to moving out of here, dude. Not gonna lie to you.
You and everybody else, right? You follow like Graham Stephan or any of those guys, right?
I do.
Everybody's taking off. They're like, yo, Peace. LA, sorry.
The taxes are crazy. Everything is closed. Like, I live in an amazing area and I'm paying so much to live here, but there's nothing to do. So why am I spending so much money to be at home? You know, so it just doesn't make sense.
Where would you move if you were to move somewhere? Florida?
I'm actually looking at Austin right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you been to Austin?
I've been to Austin a few times.
Austin's expensive as hell too, but that is but it's a super cool city. I love Austin.
It's so nice. It's still young, vibrant. You know, it's cool. The tech industry is moving there. No state income taxes, which is huge. You know, and it's still more affordable than LA. So it makes sense. We're just far from the ocean, so Robbie's a little bit. She's not sure about that.
Yeah. When do you think you'll make a decision?
But by the end of the year, we'll figure this out. We have a trip planned to Austin next month. She hasn't been there, so I want to make sure she's happy.
Okay, but you've been there.
I've been there a bunch of times. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so in closing, Alex, real quick, tips for the aspiring entrepreneur. What is your number one Alex Costa tip if you're somebody who is wanting to basically do something amazing and wants to get out of the 9-to-5 or has an idea for a business? What is your number one piece of advice?
Yeah, I think especially if you're trying to get out of your 9-to-5, is you have to put in a lot of work after hours. That's just how it is. A lot of people think I'm going to quit this job, this 9-to-5, and then I'm going to start working on this other thing. And that is not how you should do it, at least from my personal experience. You do both for a long time. You have to do both. It's gonna suck, but you have to do both until you have a better understanding of how that business is going to work and if it's going to work. That's how it worked for me. I did both for a very long time, and when I was ready, it felt like a plunge, but I knew that I had a safety net. You know what I mean?
I love it.
So that's what I would highly recommend. And then if you're trying to start something and you don't know what to start yet, you don't know what your passion is yet, then look at what you like to spend time doing. If it's playing video games, if it's watching movies, if it's being online on Reddit, like what are your passions? What do you like to do? And try different things. Try a bunch of different things. You can't just try one thing, because if that fails, then you got nothing else. So I've worked in so many different jobs. Landscaping, Domino's Pizza, I was an EMT.
Yeah,
I've done everything. And I didn't like those. This is what I like. So, but I wouldn't have known that if I didn't try it. I shot thousands of free YouTube videos where I was paying for the equipment. I was spending that time. I was getting nothing in return, and because I enjoyed it. So that was a sign for me that this is for me.
Alex Costa, you're an inspiration. You are crushing it, and it's really been fun to watch your rise and all the exciting things that you're doing. Guys, we're going to link to all of Alex's stuff down below if you want to check him out. Make sure to go subscribe on his YouTube channel. Also, make sure to go check out his Inner Circle along with Forte. What is the website for Forte?
ForteSeries.com.
ForteSeries.com. Alex Costa, thank you so much, man. When I get out to LA or Austin, if you end up making it there, I definitely want to film another video. Cool?
Yes, please. Let's do it.
All right. Thanks, brother. Keep going.
Thank you.